Pressure gets heavier when it stays vague. Once it's all folded into one feeling, you can't tell a deadline from a fear or a real limit from an old rule or something that needs doing from the demand to prove something about yourself. So you push harder and aim worse. The last page of this workbook doesn't tell you the pressure's gone. It says something more useful. You made it visible. I'm Kevin Allen Kerber, and this is the Pressure Audit Kit walkthrough of the last page of the worksheets in the free kit. And here's what you'll get out of this one. By the end, you'll know what to do the next time everything blends back into one thing, because it will. That's not the work failing. That's just what pressure does. The difference now is you'll have a move. If you've got pages 2 through 6 filled in, lay them out in front of you. Let's walk back through them quickly. I'm just going to give you one question per page. The pressure map. Read your 3 sentences again. Do they still hold? One might have already changed because you did something. One might feel more serious now that you can actually see actual conditions. And one might have gotten quieter just from not being mixed in with everything else. The map was a reading of the moment. It wasn't supposed to be permanent. Okay, external and internal. Look at your section B check marks across all 3 pressures and find the sentence that showed up more than once. If you get nothing else out of this whole audit, get that. 3 different problems, 1 demand, routing all of them, which means grinding harder on all 3 will never settle it. The demand didn't come from any of them. And if section A is where the weight actually was, if the honest finding is that the external load is just large, that's not a lesser result. That tells you the next move involves resources or limits or a conversation, not a better attitude. Okay, internal rules. Read the rule you circled and the sentence about how it runs you. Don't rush to replace it with something more positive. Just notice how much behavior it organizes. I must not disappoint people reaches into your calendar, your money, your communication, and your sleep. I must know the answer before I begin delays, creative work, decisions, and the conversations you most need to have. It gets a lot easier to question a rule once you can see how much it's been running. Okay, the reduction menu. Did you do the thing? If you did, what changed? The situation's probably still there. Did one loop close? Did someone finally get information they needed? Did you stop carrying something that wasn't yours? If you didn't do it, do not turn that into proof the audit failed. Look at the action again. Was it too big? Was the timing unrealistic? Or did the rule get in the way? The page is evidence, not a report card. Adjust the action so it's honest and move. Pressure topology. Read your 2 patterns and look at the order. Once you could see the sequence, this one, then that one, you get a chance to step out earlier. You don't have to wait until the whole structure is built. Now, the bottom of page 7, 4 words. Pressure, pattern, design, practice. Pressure is what's loud and what's real. That's the immediate load, and that's most of what we did here. Pattern is how it repeats and what it costs. Now it's not only about this week's problem. You can see the familiar shape getting built around it. Design means the response has an organization. Not that you planned it, but something in there is being protected or prevented or earned or proven. There's a logic, and it isn't random. Practice is building a steadier way of responding. And practice is necessary for one plain reason. Insight doesn't automatically become behavior. You can see a rule clearly and still find it compelling. You can name a pattern and still watch it fire. Practice is how a different response becomes available more often. Now, 3 things to name. Take them from anywhere across your pages. First, the pressure that deserves respect, the condition you don't want to talk yourself out of. Second, the rule that no longer gets automatic obedience. You're not eliminating it, you're deciding that's where choice comes back. Third, the next honest step, grounded enough to finish, real enough to take a layer off. 2 things people do with a completed audit that I want to name because they're both easy to fall into. The first is turning it into a scorecard. You start grading it. The pressure should have been smaller. The rule should have been more insightful. The action should already be done. The pattern shouldn't still be active now that I've named it. Watch what's happening there. That's the pressure system absorbing the audit into its own rules. These pages aren't evidence of how well you performed self-awareness. They're evidence of what was there when you looked. The second is demanding a conclusion. One sentence that explains why all of this happened or tells you what to do the rest of your life. The audit's more modest than that and more useful. It shows you where accuracy got lost, the difference between a condition and a verdict, between responsibility and over-responsibility, between a next step and the demand for total resolution. And if filling out these pages made the load feel heavier, that's worth understanding. Visibility can feel like an increase at first because things that used to be blended together now have separate names. 5 names look like more than one feeling. The load didn't grow. Your view of it got more detailed. So use the detail to narrow the next decision, not to open 5 new assignments. If that's where you are, go back to the map, pick one of the 3, and carry only that. Don't demand a dramatic release from the last page either. The real result is usually quieter than that. A problem has a name. A fact isn't mixed up with a verdict anymore. A rule got heard as a rule. A pattern can be caught before it finishes its usual cycle, and an action got small enough to actually do. That's real, because the pressure isn't operating in the fog anymore. Carry one sentence into tomorrow. The pressure I need to respect is, or the rule I'm ready to question is. Whichever one keeps the distinction visible when it all starts merging again. And it'll start merging again. That's what to expect, not what to guard against. So here's the whole move. When everything starts feeling like one problem, go back to the map, pick 3, say what's actually happening in plain language. That's it. That's the answer to the next hard week. These answers were never meant to be a permanent description of you. It's a reading. And you can take it again whenever the field changes. Oh, one last thing. The 4th word, practice, is the part this free kit doesn't do. What you've got here is a reading. Practice is what you build when you find out the reading repeats. That's what the full workbook is for. A baseline, 3 complete audits instead of 1, a rules inventory, a revision practice, a 7-day plan, a support map. Same movement, more room. If the reading you took this week turns out to be the same reading you take next month, that's your signal it's time. But you already have the essential structure and it stands on its own. See the pressure, separate the layers, find the rule and the pattern, make one accurate move. Keep these pages somewhere you can reach them. And thanks for pushing through.